Hello everybody, my name is Xaphan, and welcome back to some more Everlasting Summer. Today we are going to be doing the Semyon ending. So the one where we're just alone, and it doesn't look like a lot might happen, but I could be wrong, because I was wrong about Miku's ending. So to begin with, we go, no, I will stay here, because we're doing bad and then good, as usual. As you guys would usually know. So then we go to, there are only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 5 choices for the bad ending, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 choices for the good ending. So we'll do nothing with our boy, what's his name? I forgot his name. Our bra. Like, why did we forget our bra? Okay, so here's an important choice. We leave the keys. On the other hand, why would I need them? And yes, we leave the keys. And we don't... You don't matter. So the next thing is on day 5. So, I'll be back when it hits day 5. Okay, something's different. I totally didn't want to see anyone after such successful dancing. The most quiet place here is the bus station, which might never be visited by the 410 route again. But I let out a scream. There was a bus right in front of me. Just like the one on the first day, I was petrified. How? What? How? Why? At once, I remembered all my theories about getting to this camp. I was struck by the realization that during these last few days, I'd gotten so used to local life that I had started to forget that things happening here were really not normal. I just stood there and watched the damned Icarus, then I slapped my hands to my cheeks to be sure that it is not an illusion. The bus was still there. If it is here, then it's time to go home. Sayonara, pioneers! I rushed to the door. Wait, what? I came to my senses on the ground. My nose hurt like hell. I stood up and tried to understand what was going on. It seemed like I bumped into something. The bus was more than real to the touch. I had to reach my hand out through the door. There was some kind of an invisible wall. I was overwhelmed by a nearly animalistic fear. Fear of everything. The camp, its inhabitants, and this bus. How the hell did I even get here? What is this damn Icarus I can't enter? Why is this happening to me? Oh, and Cabarone just commented, this is the funniest and scariest ending. If you guys haven't seen the Miku one, go and watch it. Suddenly a strong, unbalancing wind blew. I turned around and saw a little piece of paper under the wheel of the bus. Something was written on it. You are here for a reason. You are here for a reason. You are here for a reason. The bad handwriting seemed familiar. I certainly have seen it somewhere. It dawned upon me. I took some more charcoal from the ground and scribbled the same sentence on the back side. The handwriting was identical. My head cleared. I've sent a message to myself from the future. That's it! That has to be it! Or not. And I forgot to close my door. From the past? Damn, I don't understand anything. In any case, that was my handwriting. It certainly was not hard to forge it, but I was sure that I'd written that message myself. After turning that piece of paper over in my hands, I decided to try entering the bus one more time. The invisible wall was still there. I circled around the Icarus, tapped on the wheels, peeked inside through the window. Everything looked absolutely normal. But in reality, it wasn't. Heavy stones just bounced off the glass without visible damage. No effect, not even a scratch. I sat down on the curb and sighed weakly. If you think about it, that piece of paper hinted at something. And it seems that this situation won't do me any harm. Semyon! Seems like the leader is looking for me. Interesting. What will she say about the bus now? Will she still insist that it won't be coming for a few days? I jumped up and ran towards the sound of Olga's voice. So, what do you say about that? I blurted out triumphantly and waved my hands toward the road. Say about what? She replied in surprise. I turned around. The bus had disappeared. As suddenly as it appeared. A cry of triumph died in my throat. It is time to sleep already. Let's go. But the bus was there. Oh, my kitty cat. Hello. How are you? Please don't walk through anything. Please go back the way you came. Please go back the way you came. Please, kitty cat. I don't need it. I don't need this cat. Oh my god, you're gonna... Oh my god. See, why do you do this to me, man? Why do you interrupt me like this? See, this is why you're usually outside when I'm recording. Little shit. What? The bus. There was a bus just a moment ago. The bus couldn't be here, she said calmly. I stared at Olga's face. She was either skillfully lying or really didn't see anything. Then is it me who might be seeing things? Is it me, kitty cat? It can't be true. I really saw that damn 410 bus. Quit lying, I said quietly. Semyon, I don't understand. Stop lying to me. There was a bus. It's you. You're keeping me here. Why? I gritted my teeth, but tried to speak with a calm voice. You're scaring me. Time to go to bed. I won't get anything useful from her as usual. Seriously though, I really wanted to sleep. I walked swiftly past the leader, deliberately not paying any attention to her. I couldn't fall asleep for quite some time, and only the crumpled piece of paper with the words, "You're here for a reason," reminded me that the events of these 3 days were real. Fuck, okay, that's something different. Yes, cat? Day 4. Hellish cracking in my head woke me up. My skull felt like somebody was blowing on it from the inside. I rubbed my eyes, saw the ringing alarm clock on the bedside table, knocked it off, and dozed off again. When I woke up, it was already 9:15. Looks like it's time to wake up. I can't miss my breakfast. I got up, scratched myself, and suddenly remembered last evening. There was a piece of paper under the pillow. You're here for a reason. I still don't get it. What does it mean? How did I manage to send a message to myself? Why don't I remember that? More questions than answers. No answers at all, to be precise. I left the cabin and looked over the camp. No, it doesn't look like an illusion. But this memory... It made everything much more complicated. What can I trust? My stomach growled treacherously. Even Agent Mulder didn't conduct investigations hungry. There was an unexpected crowd near the canteen. Of course, there was no other place the camp pioneers loved as much as the canteen, but why were they all crowding on the porch? I came closer to understand what was going on. It looked like all the camp had gathered at the porch. There were all the familiar girls, Olga and Electronic. And that's when Shurik went missing. So then I think... Yeah, so still the next thing is on day 5. Don't go with Miku. She's very scary. Her ending is very scary because she's not actually Miku, she is Marsha, and... That was a really weird ending. I don't know what to think of that, like... Like, it's really weird how they decided to do that for her ending. I thought it was really weird. Okay, so is anything going to be different with the mines? Nope, nothing different with the mines. Let's just get past this, shall we? And there's my buddy boy Shirk. Day 5. So this is where we... Okay, so this is the camp This is where we go to the camp and we stay seated. Well, not the camp, the hike. So, without further ado, where's the hike? Oh, come on, hurry up. Give me the hiking. Give me the hiking. Come on, man. Come on, man. Okay, so, I'm definitely afraid of Lena and Miku, because a bad alternate ending happens with Miku, and Lena is just scary as balls thanks to both. Stay seated. Yeah, so, yeah, because all that happened with Lena's, like, I'm feeling the bad, like, I'm still gonna say it, the bad Lena was in Miku's ending. I'm just saying it. Remain seated. Guess that's enough for me today. I sat in my previous place and waited for the end of the hike patiently, almost physically able to feel the looks of the camp leader aimed at me. As she stood up and declared, "And now let's play cities." I had nothing against the game itself, but it was obvious that the hike will take longer because of it. Pioneers sat around the fire. I noticed Lena and Alyssa, who took their places on a trunk opposite me. It seems that everything is alright. Just a few minutes ago, I thought the opposite while looking at their quarrel. But anything is possible. I'd really like to know what they were talking about. But it's impossible now, and I could feel tiredness growing in me more and more. My mind was completely blank. To be precise, my head was so heavy that there was no place in it for ideas to unfold. While in my better times, my brain appeared to be a wide highway with millions of thoughts running by, chasing one another and causing major crashes. Now, it was more like a footpath, lost in the woods, which is used rarely and only in exceptional cases. Slavia didn't come back. Maybe she had something to do? But once again, there's no way to find out. Okay, let's start. Moscow. Pioneers started to name cities. Finally, it was my turn. I tried to listen closely to catch the first letter of the city I'll have to use. Arkhanghelsk. We played several rounds, and I hear my cat meowing, so now I have to let him out. Cats love to interrupt me. Each new city name made it harder to remember everything that was mentioned before. My attention was dissipating, and I was already lost in all these capitals, megalopolises, villages, and urban settlements. Semyon! Semyon, it's your turn! Olga brought me back to reality. Oh, excuse me, what was the last one? You're daydreaming again. It was Sevastopol. Okay, then I'll say London. Already used. Well then, got me thinking. There were tons of cities in the world, starting with L, but it's hard to remember even one of them now. Liverpool? Already there. Los Angeles? Ah, finally. She gave me a scornful look, but the game went on. What does she have against me, man? I could hardly bear to think of another city starting with L, but fortunately it was the last round. Okay, that's enough for today. It's already late. Time to go back. I sighed with relief. On our way back, we walked as we liked with our joining... Oh, fuck. I can't brain today. On our way back, we walked as we liked without joining in pairs. Night descended upon the camp. A perfectly regular and normal night. It was one of those nights when dark skies, stars, and even a crescent moon don't cause any special feelings. The chirping of crickets and the song of the night birds seem more like routine work noises than nocturnal chorus. In a few minutes, all the pioneers were lining up in the square. It was quite late already, and fatigue took its toll, so our lineup wasn't perfectly aligned. It looked to me more like a line of Vikings after a successful battle where the warriors are happy and smiling, anticipating their return to their families rather than thinking about maintaining correct formation. But someone else could possibly see a completely defeated troop, or a bunch of survivors who have to march to their homeland with the last of their strength. Thanks, everyone. And now go to sleep. It's late already. Pioneers quickly each ran their own ways, and I was left together with the camp leader. And we should go too. We went in complete silence to Olga's cabin. Okay, let's sleep. I wonder if there was like a secret ending that no one's found, and it's where Semyon sleeps with Olga. She said, turning off the light. I was tossing and turning for quite a while, recalling all the events of the day. On the one hand, I was overcome with fatigue. On the other hand, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd forgotten something, done something wrong, said something wrong. This feeling of incompleteness was tormenting me. It was about 2 a.m. All bad things would end sooner or later, or at least would take a break. Ha 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 ha. I fell asleep. And then day 6. So the next one is on day 7. Anything different for day 6 though? I don't know what time it was when Olga woke me up, but even before opening my eyes I felt the imminence of death. My whole body ached. I felt dizzy, my mind was clouded by haze. Semyon, wake up immediately, or you'll miss breakfast, and more importantly, the lineup! Looks like the camp leader intends to exploit me to the fullest today, the same as any other day. I garbled something, covered my head with the blanket, and turned to the wall. In the end, Olga's anger will never go beyond words. At least I really want to believe so then. Stand up right now, or what? I was going to say triumphantly, but kept silent. Not because of fear, but just because I felt too lazy to open my mouth. Really, what could she do to me? Lecture me at the lineup? Hang my photo on the wall of shame? Or use me for inhuman alien experiments? Well, I'm ready for that too. Just let me sleep a couple of hours. Okay, but if you miss the lineup... The door slammed behind the camp leader, and the sleep which had been about to fade claimed my mind again. Shall we, sleepy boy? I woke up dazzled by sunlight. It was 1 p.m. according to my cell phone, which was squeezing the last drops of charge out of its battery. Strangely enough, my body didn't ache. My head felt clearer, and all in all, it was a good beginning to the day. After waving my arms, pretending to do early exercises, I sprang out of the cabin and headed towards the washstands. Yeah, I slept through breakfast, but we'll be served lunch soon, so I shouldn't worry that I'll have to stay hungry like I did yesterday. That's me! That's Semyon! Along the way, I met a pioneer whose face somehow looked strangely familiar. But I was going so fast I couldn't really see him. And when I turned around, he was already gone around the corner. That's fucking Semyon! What? This is weird. There was nobody near the washstands. Everyone was probably busy with Olga's tasks and God knows what else. Quickly brushed my teeth, washed my face, and was already going to leave when I suddenly heard the sound of water flowing from the opposite tap. Pioneer leaned against a washstand over there. I couldn't see his face, but judging by his figure, he looked like the one I saw a couple of minutes ago. How are you doing? The sun's so bright today. I looked up into the sky, shielding my eyes with my palm. I feel like he is Semyon, because he looks like Semyon. Yeah, nothing special. It wasn't easy to get a better look at the pioneer. Given the way he stood, the bright sunlight that reflected from the water and shiny metal surfaces of the washstands heavily obscured his face, and I wasn't able to distinguish any single feature. The camp leader is angry today. So angry! His voice sounded painfully familiar, too. Well, she's always like that. Well, you'd know better, yeah! I tried to remember if I've ever heard this voice or seen this pioneer before. Well, see ya! He turned the water off and quickly marched towards the forest path. For a second I thought of following him, stopping him, but I quickly fought it off as I decided that it's not worth spoiling such a great morning with suspicions and burdensome speculations. Nature was glowing at the bright light of life. Lush treetops were rhythmically swaying in the wind, whispering to each other. The breeze gently stroked the high emerald grass, birds were cooing in the shade, escaping the midday heat. The woods and fields stretching beneath the horizon were dissolving in warm sunlight. I don't know which month it is now, but it looks like midsummer? I distinctly remembered the summer vacations of my childhood and youth. Times of fun, leisure, and carefree joy. Childhood games, how many were there? I wouldn't say no to playing war games or hide and seek now. Or swinging on a bungee. Or maybe building a sandcastle and inhabiting it with toy soldiers, ready to defend their master to the last drop of their plastic blood. I went to the square and sat on the bench waiting for lunch. It looked like there wasn't much time left before it. From time to time, pioneers passed me, sometimes alone, sometimes in pairs of groups of 3. But always someone I didn't know. Alyssa, Oyana, Lena, or Slavia were nowhere to be seen. Thoughts about the meaningless of existence were circling in my brain, but this didn't worry me much on such a beautiful day. Just think about it. Who could think of grieving for his life in vain or lost early while basking in the rays of such a friendly sun? Certainly not me. I looked upon Genda, who is meditating, as always. Now he definitely never gets any unnecessary doubts. I remembered my first hours in this camp, and the day before, the anguish, the anxiety, and fear. That all seems so far away now, although so little time has passed. Will I get out of here or not? It didn't concern me as much before. Maybe I'm already dead. Then this is the last stop. Please get off the train. What are you thinking about? I looked up and saw that Pioneer I'd seen before. I couldn't see his face again as the sun was shining in my eyes. You know, life. It seemed he would sit down next to me, but the Pioneer stayed in the same place, only half turned, which completely killed any hope of seeing his face. Listen, have we met earlier? I don't think I remember you. Well, let's say that you know who I am. But I don't. I laughed sincerely. Here. You don't. He answered short. I see. Honestly, it's not like I didn't want to talk, I just didn't know what to talk about. And my soul was so calm, this didn't bother me. Your first time here? He asked a question, but his tone implied he was only expecting a confirmation. Yeah, and you? Me? He paused for a few seconds. Nah, it's not my first time here. One might say I visited this camp every year since my early childhood. Such an answer got me interested. Well, what was it like before? It's always the same. Olga being the camp leader, all the same pioneers around, all the same lineups at the morning, and all these wicked accidents. For a moment, I thought it was me speaking, not him. So, was there an order that I was supposed to do the endings in? Like, a specific order? Because I know that's Semyon. I know that from this, only because, I mean, just look at it. It's fucking Semyon. Everyone knows that. But, yeah. I feel like this is really confusing, man. Interesting. It's just the way that it's just that with every new. He hesitated. Year. More and more interesting things happen and one gets to understand better what's going on. What are you talking about? This conversation positively triggered my curiosity. It's a pity that I can't distinguish the face of this pioneer at all. Well, every session in the Pioneer camp reminds me of the previous one, he said calmly. Probably. This is my first. It shows. The Pioneer grinned. But it looks like it won't be the last. Well, it's fun here and all, but you know how they say there's no place like home, but you still have to get back there. Now, I was absolutely sure that this guy was hiding something from me. To be precise, he stood out too much from the camp's usual ordinariness and was too different from local inhabitants. What do you mean? You think I'm stuck here forever or something? I said, enunciating every word. The Pioneer had no time to answer as the lunch bell sounded. I turned my head towards the loudspeaker, and by the time I looked back, the guy was already gone. Thousands of theories and speculations instantly appeared in my mind, but I stopped myself, remembering all the apparent normality of this camp. After all, nothing supernatural has happened in these 5 days. Moreover, everything here seemed too natural, sometimes even boring. Maybe this pioneer didn't mean anything by that and I just misunderstood him? Thinking that, I went to the canteen intending to feast. Sometimes it seemed to me that lunch here is akin to the crowds around the soup kitchens during a famine. Pioneers were running around, pushing each other, trying to crawl through the first meal and take the most comfortable table. I was calmly standing, impatiently waiting for the cook to get me my assigned food rations. Okroshka is a traditional Russian cold soup. For lunch we had okroshka, which I didn't really like, and cutlets with potatoes. I sat in a corner and mentally rejoiced that I'll be able to eat in peace. My table was the farthest from the kitchen, and I could barely reasonably hope that the pioneers who were looking for a free place wouldn't reach it. Or would reach it last. However, when I moved on to the main course, Slavia, Shirk, and Electronic appeared from the crowd. All 3 blondies. Can we? Yes, you may. I had nothing against their company. Of course. Lunch was going surprisingly calmly. Even Electronic wasn't jabbering as he usually does. I finally finished the meal, sprawled in my chair and, satisfied, clicked my tongue. Listen, do you know this pioneer? I saw him today. He's so... I suddenly realized that I don't know how to describe him. Well, about my height, same constitution. Hard to say from such a description, Slavia smiled. Well, we have half a camp of such guys if it comes to that, brah. All in all, they were right. What are you asking, brah? It's just that I met him today, and it seemed like I haven't seen him here before. Look in the canteen, brah. I don't think he'll miss lunch. Why didn't I think of that? That's it. Okay, guys, enjoy your meal. I got up and started to slowly walk along the rows of tables. Lena and Xenia sitting over there. I gave them a friendly smile. Melissa and Olyana are laughing and arguing about something. Olga surrounded by pioneers. God, good thing she didn't notice me. There are hardly any free seats, but the guy from this morning is nowhere to be seen. The situation is getting more and more interesting. Looks like I won't find him here. Maybe he already had lunch? I headed to the exit. I see him at the exit? It was so hot outside that it seemed like you would instantly melt after coming out of the shade. I suddenly felt like sleeping. I yawned, headed back to the camp leader's cabin in order to follow the domestic interpretation of the Archimedes principle. In the end, Ogre is unlikely to return anytime soon, at least I think so, and I'll definitely have a couple hours to rest. Anyways, I really don't expect any other options to arise, especially in this heat. The heavenly coolness in the cabin became my salvation. I took my clothes off and jumped into the bed. Crickets were lazily chirping outside, the wind was shaking the curtains on the window, and I sank into a dream. Knocking on the door woke me up. The knocks were soft but insistent. I reluctantly got up and went to open it, and he's there! Strangely, there was nobody on the doorstep. I rubbed my eyes and stepped out to look. All the same, no one around. A dream, maybe? It was already 4 o'clock. Well, I mean, to be fair, I was once sleeping, and I'm pretty sure I was dreaming it, but there was, like, stomping in my house when I was, like, living all alone. Like, there was stomping, literally, from the front door of my house all the way to my bedroom. And then I opened my eyes and there was nothing there. It was so creepy, and I hate those fucking dreams. I felt jaded. I probably shouldn't have slept in the afternoon. After all, I knew what was going to happen. I put on my boots, left the cabin, and locked the door. But where shall I go? All in all, there's not much time till dinner. A sudden thought came to me that it would be nice to refresh myself, so I went towards the beach. The sun has passed the midday mark a while ago. It gets dark early here in the south. I squinted and looked up at the flaming disc. Who was that just now? I flinched. The same mysterious guy was standing in front of me. And once again his face was hard to see due to the bright light. For a moment the sun blinded me so I could not see anything besides the faint contours of objects. Are you stalking me? Nope, I was just passing by, he answered calmly. Then you should know better. So, you haven't seen anyone? Correct. I rubbed my eyes, but it did not help. Why didn't I see you at lunch? I asked bluntly. I wasn't hungry. He laughed. Oh. I blinked a few times and my vision came back, but the pioneer had miraculously disappeared once again. What the hell is going on here? Now I was absolutely sure that there was something strange about this guy. He must be directly related to everything happening around here. I'll have to find out. But for starters, it's good to confirm that I'm not mistaken and that he's not just a local pioneer. It was quite crowded at the beach. It looked like everyone from the camp was here. Well, no wonder, it's so hot outside. Olga was standing just a bit further apart from everyone, keeping an eye on her army of pioneers. As soon as I thought that coming here might not have been the best idea, she noticed me. Hey, Semyon! You weren't at the lineup, and in general, you were just lounging around all day. I did not know how to answer. Just how are you planning on becoming a proper pioneer? Well, I don't think a proper pioneer would be wearing a swimsuit like that. I'm just saying. She continued more softly. Olga, in the camp, is there a pioneer who looks a lot like me? She looked surprised. Maybe, I don't know. Why do you ask? Oh, I'm just curious. Well, we have a lot of boys here. Alright, never mind. Someone's yell came from the riverside and Olga rushed in its direction. Well, it looks like I will be spared a lecture. I lowered myself onto the sand and stared at the pioneers playing in the water. After a few minutes of sitting here, Oyana approached me. Why so sad? I'm not sad. Well, why are you sitting here all alone? Just thinking. About what? I decided to spare her my story about the mysterious pioneer. Well, imagine that you are chatting with a weird person, and you have to figure out what exactly is so weird about them. Simple, I would just ask him. She laughed. Too simple. But he won't answer. How do you know? Have you tried asking? No, but it's obvious. Oyana did not answer, just sat down next to me and let out a tired sigh. I'm all swimmed out. And what if they know something but won't tell you? Make them! But how? For a bit longer we sat together talking about random things and then I got up, said goodbye and went away. It's time to find the mysterious stranger and get all the answers. First place to visit was the bus stop. After all, this is where it all began. The road was empty, as always. Only small dust tornadoes were occasionally visible on it. As I was ready to turn around and go back to the camp, then I heard someone whisper. Don't trust him. Someone was hiding behind the monument. A pioneer was sitting there with his back to me. Once again, the voice seemed strangely familiar. Who are you? I took a few steps toward him. Stop! Don't come any closer! For some reason, I froze in my tracks. From somewhere deep inside, an assurance came to me, and I understood that I shouldn't argue with him. Alright, I'll stay here. Have you seen him? Talked to him? He asked nervously. Who are you even talking about? He was dressed in a pioneer uniform. You know who. And I definitely did know. He was talking about the weird pioneer I saw earlier. Yes, I answered after a few moments of silence. What did he tell you? The pioneer asked in a pleading tone. Nothing, really. Did he give you advice? Did he tell you what to do? Threaten you? No, nothing like that. Of course, he seemed pretty weird, but nothing more than that. Remember, he may not be alone, or more likely, he's not alone, but you may meet many pioneers here who look like him. What about you? Who are you? Who are you hiding from? You will understand. In time. Just remember, the most important thing is to find the exit. All of a sudden, a strong gust of wind came through, ripping leaves from the trees and throwing an old paper bag into my face, shielding myself, so I averted my eyes. When I looked back at the monument, the pioneer was already gone. At that moment, I was overwhelmed by fear. Real, almost tangible fear. I remember being scared during my first hours at this camp. But back then, everything around me seemed kind and friendly. Now Savyanok revealed its fangs, getting ready to eat me. And ahead, the unknown. My body was covered in goosebumps, my throat was dry, and my hands were shaking. I tried to ignore it all and headed back to the camp. It was already dinner time, but I had no desire to go to the canteen. After meeting the second mysterious pioneer, just thinking about the locals made me, if not afraid, then at least creeped out. I don't even know who or what they are. And even though nothing had happened yet, it doesn't mean that I can trust them. I stopped in front of the clubhouse, but then realized that this is not the best spot to be at. I could run into someone, which was not something I wanted to do at the moment. Almost running, I hurried towards the forest and walked a few meters along the path before finally stopping. On one side, the mysterious pioneer. Well, two of them to be precise. On the other, all the other inhabitants of this camp who seemed absolutely normal. Either way, my decision to stand back and let everything resolve itself was under some serious pressure. At this point, it was clear to me. I had something to do on my own. But what exactly? Everyone is probably having dinner, so I have a good chance to make it to Olga's place without being noticed. I decided to first take my clothes that I wore when I arrived here along with my cell phone. I won't be able to come up with a solid plan right off the bat, so for the time being, I might as well hide in the forest. I leaped up the steps and entered the building. My clothes were right where I left them, and my phone was where it was supposed to be, under my pillow. I quickly grabbed it and was ready to stuff it into my pocket, but then I noticed something on the screen. The message window was open. The text read, "You're wrong, Semyon. You are so wrong." Felt like my soul had left my body. I froze on the spot. I was shaking, my blood was pumping so hard it felt like my skull was going to burst open from the pressure. It took at least a full minute for me to come back to my senses. Olga could have typed in the message, or one of the pioneers? It's easy to figure out how to do it. Even they're not familiar with this technology. But no one besides me should know where I kept the phone. This event was the straw that broke the camel's back. I rushed out of the house determined never to come back here. Night fell on the campgrounds. I'd been sitting in the woods for a few hours, trembling at every noise. The spot that I chose was far away from the path, so it would be hard to find me. I was keeping a few plans in my head for the time being. To try and run, to kill every person in the camp. However, on the other hand, one thought chased me and I realized that I shouldn't behave like this because of some strange pioneer, or even because of that message on my phone. All of this was reinforcing that the thought that everything happening here was far from normal. However, there was no proof that anyone in the camp had anything to do with it. I could have stayed here until morning, lost in my own thoughts, but I heard footsteps coming from somewhere nearby. Oh, fuck, he's there again! So you decided to escape after all. I turned around, but I couldn't see the pioneer's face in the dark. Nevertheless, I was pretty sure that it was him. I wasn't afraid then. More precisely, I was so physically exhausted that I was prepared for any possible course of events, and somehow managed to reason appropriately and to maintain the conversation. I wouldn't call this an escape, I answered slowly, stretching every word. Huh, then what is it? A tactical retreat? Brilliant! He burst into laughter. Listen, why don't you tell me what's going on? Who are you and what do you want from me? What did that guy tell you at the gate? It seemed that he didn't even hear my question. He told me not to trust you. I lied. But on the other hand, I thought that it was what he meant. Well, that's always the way for him. Running away. Hiding. I could hear irritation in his voice. I'm not sure what kind of circus you were running here, but I'm not going to be a part of it. Oh, why not? You're the star after all. I couldn't see his face, but I bet he was smiling. Explain my part to me then. You know, I was like you in the beginning. The first time everything went peacefully. Then I escaped. I tried to understand what was going on, got mad, and even tortured them to get the truth. He laughed crazily. I shivered. But it was pointless. continued the pioneer after calming down a bit. Pointless. And then I began to notice the lapses. First I just heard their voices from a distance, and sometimes in my head, then vague silhouettes appeared. Then they slowly took on physical form. And finally they stepped into my world. I could touch them, introduce them to other pioneers. And they were all different. Different, do you get it? Different! He started shouting, and it recurred again and again. You can get used to the loops, but... Then I learned how to get into their worlds by myself to interact with the others. But it turned out that I'm not alone. There are lots of us. Today you saw at least one more. He fell silent. So is this a fourth wall break right here? This has to be a fourth wall break right here. I didn't know the question to ask and didn't want to interrupt his story, so I simply waited. After a minute he continued. It's not that simple, of course. And it's not always possible. Only under certain circumstances. When you feel strong emotions, for example. I instantly remembered how I saw him the first time. A time when I didn't feel any emotions at all. Including the moments when you feel happy. As if he was reading my thoughts. I see. So what you're trying to say, that there are several parallel worlds, including the same camp with its inhabitants, where I'm replaced by you, or that guy I met at the bus stop? Yeah, something like that. His answer didn't surprise me at all. In the end, it's clear that whatever happens here is beyond the limits of human understanding. And this theory didn't even seem all that unusual. But you said that everything recurs. Yes, it recurs. And what will happen afterwards? You start from the very beginning. You wake in the bus. Come to the camp. Meet Olga, the girl's electronic. But if it happened to you, then why should it happen to me as well? It happens to everyone. Once again, he laughed hysterically. And how many loops have you experienced so far? I stopped counting them already. At first, I tried to remember them though. Maybe a few hundred? No wonder it was very clear that this guy was suffering from a progressing mental dysfunction. But you searched for a way out, didn't you? He didn't answer. That's what that guy at the bus stop was talking about. Because he understands nothing, damn it! He shouted. Because he's just like you, constantly running away, hiding. What would you suggest then? If I had any suggestions, I wouldn't be here, talking to you. Alright, but you were trying, weren't you? Are you trying to understand what I know? Since I've been around here for a long time, he asked cheerfully. Well, that's evident. Yes, I did try to run away from here. There, he waved towards the forest, is nothing there. Nothing but trees. When I had been walking there for several days and finally passed out, I'll find myself in the bus again. Same for walking along the road. It's endless. Talking to somebody about that is pointless. You probably already understood that by yourself. I did. I interjected. Even if you try to explain your situation directly, at best you'd just be considered an idiot. What if you try to not leave the bus? It's pointless. Sooner or later you'll be found. I even tried to spend the entire time there. In the end, I fell asleep and everything started from the beginning. And what if you start it by yourself and leave? No keys. And I don't have any carjacking skills. A cursed cycle. Exactly! A long silence fell. Finally I asked, what about the people around here? Don't they raise absolutely reasonable suspicions? Suspicions? Laughter again. The only thing that is suspicious about them is that no matter how much you tell them, they stare at you with their eyes out on stalks. The people! I fear them at first too. Then I use them for different experiments. And now I don't consider them humans. They're all dolls. Puppets. You can easily predict any reaction, any word or action. So they aren't worth fearing, are they? The only one worth fearing is yourself, he said softly. Do you know how funny it is when human bones crack as I slowly broke from distension? Looks like he has finally lost his marbles. Listen, I understand everything, but the other one thinks that's a bit much too. But it doesn't matter. Nobody but you is real here. The pioneer suddenly fell silent. Well, no, I don't agree with you. You're probably thinking, why didn't I check this all by myself, aren't you? Why didn't I try to reach the nearest village or town? Yes, I did have such thoughts. Why wasn't I suspicious? Why was I doing different stuff instead of searching for answers? Well, yeah. Forget about it. That's normal. We all behave like this for the first time here. But how many others have you seen so far? Not that many. The pioneer was lost in thought. About 10 people, maybe. But I'm sure there are many more of them. And is everyone like this? In fact, yes. Only the details are different. But the main thing is invariable. There's no way out of here. By the way, you're just like the majority of them. The only thing that differs is that you have heard everything from me instead of experiencing it for yourself. I don't know if I should thank him for that. Well, and what now? Nothing, he said shortly. Closed my eyes and lost myself in thought. That was a critical mistake. When I opened the eyes, I didn't see anybody, just like the previous times. So it's clear now what's going on. But in fact, how could everything he said guide me to an answer? Yeah, I'm not alone. Yeah, everything recurs. What's the reason for all this? And what is more important, there's the way out? The only useful thing that I extracted from the conversation was that local inhabitants were not worth fearing. And that was quite significant to me now, since it was much better to sleep in a warm cabin instead of the forest. I sighed, took my things, and headed towards the camp. As I was walking, the conversation with my fellow sufferer popped up in my mind every now and then. Why didn't I not ask him about the message on my phone, and some other stuff? There were hints, after all. Maybe if I had found some details out, I could have drawn some conclusions. However, it didn't seem like our meeting would be the last one. Lights were on in Olga's cabin, opened the door gently and went in. Speak of the devil, here you are, the camp leader said angrily. Olga, I'm so tired now, so let's put off the lecture. Tired from what, I wonder? From everything, I snapped rudely. The camp leader looked at me with surprise. I fell into bed without undressing. Semyon, a role model pioneer, shouldn't behave like that. And how should he behave then? Well, not like that. The camp leader stumbled for a moment as if struggling to pick the right words. He should respect his seniors. I respect you immensely, for sure. Semyon! The sarcasm in my voice didn't go unnoticed. And now I'd like to sleep. Wait, By the way, how far is the nearest town? When does the bus arrive? How can I even get out of here? I asked in a surprisingly calm voice. There was no answer and there shouldn't be any. I said all this just in order to get rid of her. Why are you silent? I'm tired. Let's talk about that tomorrow. The camp leader got up and turned off the light. Yes, it's all just like that guy said. Why did I speak to him so calmly and properly, I wonder? I should have been shivering from horror. That pioneer didn't have much credibility, but I had a feeling that he's unable to harm me. As soon as I thought that it would be a good idea to ask something else, fatigue overtook me and I passed out. Jesus Christ, okay, this batshit insane, son! Your boy needs a drink of his Mountain Dew. Day 7. The bright sunlight was striking my eyes even through my eyelids. I stretched out lazily and quickly got myself out of the bed. It was 2 p.m. It's like yesterday really finished me off and my body required much more time to recover than usual. I had to stroll around the room thinking of what I should do today. Obviously, my life in the camp would never be the same again after everything that I'd heard from that strange pioneer. And everything's just as he said. I have plenty of time ahead. I grabbed my hygiene kit and went outside. I managed to take only a couple of steps as somebody ran in my back. I turned around and saw Alyssa. Hey, be careful! She said indifferently and ran on her way. She held some kind of bag in her hands. Whatever. Yet another ordinary day in this crazy place. I finished brushing my teeth and then spent an eternity washing my face with ice cold water to bring myself to my senses and refresh my head at least a bit. I felt a bit better after that. Suddenly, hope struck me from nowhere. It wasn't a hope that I'd be likely to leave this place safely. Rather, I just didn't want to believe that everything is as bad as that guy told me. That's a good way of looking at it. Ah, good morning. I heard a faint voice coming from the woods. Someone stood behind a tree. Morning. Are you ready? Ready for what? I looked again and it seemed like it was that pioneer from the bus stop yesterday. Indeed, I was prepared for such weirdness today, so I wasn't really surprised and started this conversation quite clear-headed. You didn't believe him, did you? What are you talking about? Everything that he said? Alright, but what is your opinion on what is happening? I'd already distanced myself from the outside world and decided to retreat everything happening to me. Just like a fictional film, not reality. Hopefully it will give me more room to move around in terms of situational logic analysis. There is an exit. There has to be. So that's a quiet Semyon. I thought it was the bad Semyon, he said excitedly. I don't know, but I'd like to believe that too. If you just... Semyon! I turned around. Slavia was standing right next to me. Who were you talking to? No one. Just talking to myself. I hardly think that's worth telling her about aliens from parallel worlds. She probably can't even see them anyway. Have you prepared already? Prepared for another hike? No! Today's the last day of the session. What? A stupid smile settled on my face. There will be a bus in the evening. We're leaving. Holy cow! I was ready for even the most incredible of twists, but... Was this what that mysterious pioneer was talking about? Probably it was. Well, apparently I'll have to go for a second lap and live yet another week in this camp. But this time, I know everything. I haven't packed yet. It's not like I have much to pack anyway. Okay. Slavia shifted her gaze. Seemed like she wanted to say something but hesitated. Well, see you then. Yeah. I had to ask when we're leaving at least. I went to the square with the intention of discovering that there's got to be someone I know there. But believe it or not, there was only the Genda waiting for me at the square. Probably all the pioneers are busy with packing. Took a seat on the bench and just stared at the sky. Turns out that today I just have to wait for the departure, pass out on the bus, and wake up in this camp again, just like the first day. Everything was drowning in silence. It's exactly that time of the summer day when the sun seems stuck in the sky. The birds and crickets have gone for an after-lunch doze, and the wind is saving its energy to deliver long-awaited coolness to people in the evening. It suddenly crossed my mind that I haven't just missed lunch, but I already haven't had any breakfast either. It was ridiculous to search for anything in the canteen. The pioneers had surely cleaned up everything just before the departure. I scratched my head and made my way to Olga's cabin. Surely there should be something edible in the table's drawer. Someone called for me just as I approached the door. Shuriken Electronics swiftly approached the cabin. Are you already packed up, brah? Already packed up. I answered imitating him. You haven't quite been yourself the last few days, brah. What makes you say that? How should I know? You'd know better, brah. I mean, why are you so concerned? No reason, brah. A real pioneer always treats a comrade problems as his own, brah. I cast a skeptical look at him. Thanks for your concern. I'm fine. There actually was half a loaf of stale bread and a piece of smoked sausage in the drawer. I've ate everything with deliberate pleasure, washing it down with smelly water that Olga probably used to water the plants. Just as I finished, someone started knocking on the door. Come in. Yana rushed into the room. Oh, it's just you, she said disappointedly. And who do you expect to see? A circus complete with bears? Yana giggled. Where's Olga? I don't know. I shrugged. Why not? I don't know because I don't know. What do you want from her anyway? Gotta ask something before the departure. Okay, I'll tell her that you're searching for her if I see her. By the way, why aren't you packing up? Like I have much to pack. We'll see you. She cracked a sly smile and bounded out of the cabin, slamming the door behind her. And still, it's really strange that nobody seems to be puzzled by the sudden departure. And why am I the only one who was not expecting it? Like everyone really cares if I've packed my things up. As well as that, doesn't anyone care that this is the last time we're seeing each other? The words of that guy in the forest yesterday about all the camp's tenants being unreal suddenly sprang into my mind. Well, right now I'm more ready to believe it than ever. The desk drawer where I found my breakfast contained lots of odds and ends. I grabbed a pencil and a piece of paper, examined them for some time, then slipped them into my pockets. Just in case. I had no intention of watching over all the pioneers running around and packing, so I just lay on my bed and didn't even notice how I dozed off. It was somebody's voice that woke me up. Fuck me! A familiar pioneer was sitting directly opposite, with his back to me. I gotten used to him a bit since yesterday, and even it seemed that I stopped fearing him. Hey, why do you always hide your face? Because you shouldn't see it. If you say so. I wasn't in a position to argue. So what are you going to reveal this time? You already know that it's the last day of the session, don't you? Yep. And you've already spoken with that one? Yep. So what did he tell you? Nothing special. He said that there's an exit out of here. The pioneer burst into laughter. Yeah, I believe that too, ages ago. And now? And what is now? I have my past, my life back then. He stopped talking for some time. Anyway, it was all a long while ago, so I don't really remember. The future is all the same. Loops, loops, loops. Repetitions of the same story. Where is this now? Well, I hate to say it, but I'm not yet as lost in time as you are. Oh, that's nothing. That'll come with time. He broke into diabolical laughter. There's just one thing I don't understand. What's your reason for coming to me? What do you expect to achieve? Me? Nothing, really. So why did you come then? It's just because you, him, and others like us are the only real people around here. Given everything he'd said to me already, I just wasn't ready to believe that all the local tenants are just puppets in some kind of hellish stage play. Are you sure that you're right? Right about what? Well, that you're right about everything. I can't be right or wrong. I didn't choose this world. I didn't throw myself into it. I'm just here. And you're just here. Listen, I've already got a headache from your philosophizing. I was kind of puzzled myself as to why I was so calm talking to this mysterious pioneer. Well, here it is, right in front of me, all the fantasy and devilry that's happened in this camp. Here it is, an explanation, at least a partial one, for how I got here. Here they are, the answers I've searched for such a long time. On the other hand, my behavior was quite logical. While I couldn't quite explain what was happening, this cuckoo guy just talked and talked. But it's not like his words changed anything. What's the point of listening to him? Oh no, you'll soon understand everything for yourself. Scary boy. Somebody was knocking on the door. I got up to open it. It was Slavia on the doorstep. You came to see Olga? No. Come in then. I was 100% sure that pioneer had already disappeared. Turns out I was right. Slavia took a seat on the bed and I snuggled against the wardrobe in the far corner of the room. She was distinctively nervous. Did something happen? Not really. It's just today's the last day. Well, I'm already aware. Better late than never. Well, so I thought. I mean, we probably won't see each other ever again. It's a small world, as they say. But maybe you would give me your address to write letters? I would have, if only I knew it myself. You know, let's do it the other way around. You give me your address. I'll definitely write to you upon arrival. Why don't you want to give out yours? Well, we were just about to move, so you never know. It's better if I write to you. I tried to put on my cutest smile to make my story look more credible. Oh, okay. It's fine then. Slavia got up and seemed to be leaving. Hey, wait. What about the address? Let's do it later. An expression of sorrow and disappointment crossed her face. I just shut the door and right then heard the spiteful voice of that pioneer from behind. Well, happy now? You've heard a girl. What have I heard her with? What should I have said to her? My dear, write to my dear granny in the village? Or should I have left her the address of a house that's probably not even built yet? So what? I'm not my brother's keeper. It's your world, not mine. I'll manage somehow in my own. The last phrase really made me squirm. You know what? I didn't manage to finish the phrase. Someone was knocking at the door again. Come in. Oyana flew into the cabin. Why the rush, milady? I made an excessively showy bow. Me, I'm just... Her eyes dotted about cautiously and her cheeks were blushed. Just want to say goodbye. There will be time for that anyway. After all, we'll all be going on the same bus. Yeah, you're right, but it's kind of embarrassing in front of everybody. Oh, so there's something that you can be embarrassed by? I laughed. She pouted. I just wanted to tell that you aren't a douche, really. In fact, you're almost a cool guy. Her words astonished me. Well, thanks. You're good to hang out with, too. Well, that's that. She rushed outside, slamming the door loudly. Hey, didn't expect that from her. Did you? I got nothing to do with that. I told you. It really looks like you knew what she'll say. Maybe I did, maybe not. You just came here to mock me? I started to lose my temper. That idea also crossed my mind. Then why the hell are you hanging around here? If I ever need a man to comment on all my actions, I'll hire a professional psychologist. You think that after all this time, I don't qualify as one? My estimation is that after all the time here, you've definitely gone bananas. All psychologists are freaks. Yes, but not all freaks are psychologists. He laughed out loud. Lol. A sense of humor. How encouraging. Frankly, your jokes are fairly lame. Who are you laughing at? At yourself? Listen, if you got nothing to do in your old world, go and bug that second one. And have you got anything to do in your world? The pioneer sharply countered. You know, I found out what to do. I'll pack up my things, leave this camp. And then what? Then what? Like I know. I've never been in such a situation before, believe it or not. It's just that you've forgotten that you won't be able to leave the camp. Yeah, he was right on this matter. Probably. Just because you failed to do so, that doesn't mean that I'll fail too. You're the boss. There was a knocking at the door. So quiet that I barely heard it. It's Lena. Damn, who else is it? I hissed under my breath and shouted, Come in! But the door didn't open, so I pulled the handle myself. Knew it! Lena was on the doorstep. It looks like I really scared her. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. You came to see Olga? No, she said, staring at the ground. So what is it then? What did Lena want from me? Come in. She came in and hesitated in the middle of the room. Want to take a seat? I pointed at one of the beds. Lena hesitated a bit more, but nevertheless took a seat. Did something happen? Not at all. I just... She threw a quick glance at me, but blushed at once and looked away. Here. Lena took out something of her pocket and handed it to me. I was stunned. It was my phone. I knew there was a chronological order to do things. I knew it. I knew it. And you knew, F-22 Raptor, you knew there was an order to do things. So, when I did Alyssa first, was that the right one to do? Was it actually supposed to be Alyssa, Slavia, Lena, and then all that? But where did you get it from? I found it in the forest. Okay, but why do you think it's mine? Somebody told me so. Have you seen him before? I don't know. I couldn't see his face, but he was dressed in a pioneer uniform. Everything was clear at once. Okay, so it wasn't. Never mind. My bad. I was wrong. And don't you wonder what it is? I looked at the screen. There was some battery left. Therefore, the cell phone shouldn't just look like a piece of plastic to Lena. I don't know. Some kind of a game? Yeah, you're right. I quickly opened Snake in the menu and handed her the phone. Here you go. A keepsake. Oh, what are you doing? I can't. She waved her hands at me. Take it. I have loads of these at home. She resisted a bit more, but finally she took the device. What do I do with it? Press the keys to move left and right. You've got to eat all these pellets and keep from hitting your own tail. Wow, it's so interesting. She smiled. Thank you.
And yet I have nothing for you. It's so embarrassing.
I don't need anything, thanks,
No, that's no good.
she said with a voice that sounded more confident than usual.
It's the last day today after all.
Yeah?
I hope we'll meet again.
I think we will.
Then I have a present for you.
And what is it?
Close your eyes.
Oh no. I did so?
I promise that you won't open them until I tell you.
Okay.
No, you have to promise.
Alright, I promise. In a moment, I felt a light kiss on my cheek. I was really eager to open my eyes, but I promised.
Open.
The room was empty. What a girl. The only thing I managed to say. So, how does it feel, stud? I heard a malicious laughter from the place where Lena had just been sitting. So that's your new way of pranking me, hey? Using the others? Me? Pranking? God forbid. Indeed, you got a kiss from a sweet girl thanks to me on the cheek, but anyway. I really wanted to beat him up at that moment, but I wasn't even sure that he's a physical being here. I presume that this prank wasn't your last one? I said, comma. Who knows? Who knows? Isn't it fun? The pioneer laughed hard. Perhaps Professor Moriarty laughed like that, anticipating the success of his diabolical plan. You're certainly having fun, but I'm not. Relax, dude. There's nothing left. And here you go, your second lap. After you do a dozen, then you'll earn a pit stop. Although, you probably won't need me then. You'll figure out everything yourself. It's not like I need you right now either. Oh, what ingratitude. Just cut it out. If you'd ever. Just shut up already. No understanding. Shut your damn mouth! I screamed so loud that the walls trembled. The front door suddenly burst open and Alyssa came in. Fuck! God. Oh god. Is it just me, or is someone gone completely nutty nuts? She asked with a fright. Well, you could say so, I answered angrily. Why are you yelling? 'Cause I want to. I've already realized that the accidental arrival of Alyssa was either planned by this pioneer, or would be commented on by him in a manner that I'd soon drive a pair of nails in my ears than have to hear. Have you gone psycho or something? Alyssa reclined on a bed in a laid-back manner. To what do I owe the honor? I just came for the sake of it, and you're just here screaming. You aren't doing anything just for the sake of it. I've got nothing to do. I've packed my stuff. It's boring. Well. If you think that I came to you because... She threw an angry glance at me and turned away. I really shouldn't have come after that. After what? I haven't said a word. Of course. You thought it instead. Oh, so you can read minds now? There's no need to read your mind. It's written all over your face. It was hardly possible to read anything on my face besides fatigue and anger. And what have you read there? That's none of your business. Well, it's not like I'm holding you here. Forget it. I'll go wherever I please. Don't boss me around. Okay, stay here then, for God's sake. Anyway, I liked Alyssa's company was much more than pioneers. I lay back and closed my eyes. It took Alyssa a few minutes to break the silence. You really don't want to tell me anything? For example, today's the last day after all. So you're happy. Well, she babbled uncertainly. Everyone's leaving. Good riddance. And that's all? You need something else? Didn't you like it here? Her voice sounded unusual. I've seen better places. Damn, you're so dumb that speaking to you is a complete waste of time. She got up and headed to the exit. Yep, good luck to you too. Alyssa turned to me. Her face was writhing with anger. Couldn't you at least said that you miss me? Sure I will. Wimp. She slammed the door loudly. Stupid. Alyssa didn't hear my last line, of course. What a wayward chick, huh? As good as you are. And you, in that case. Of course. Keep comparing me to yourself, I remarked mischievously. What's the difference? We're in the same situation. I've just been here a little longer. Well, in fact, a lot longer. And you've gone completely nuts. No wonder. His hoarse laughter was really pissing me off. Listen, Have I already told you that you should be an actor? You'd do a brilliant Hannibal Lecter. Especially since you consider yourself a psychiatrist. I'll think about it. Well, now I must go. Maybe I'll see you again. Get lost. I turned to look at him, but the pioneer had already disappeared. Oh, finally! But nevertheless, why did he come? It might be the case that me, him, and others like us are the only real people around here. But I desperately didn't want to believe that. All his speech seemed like was some sort of a complex game. Like he's trying to give me one hint after the other, trying to lead me to something, enabling me to discover some kind of devious plot. Too bad he's not really successful at that because I'm out of ideas. Time dragged on deceitfully slow, but it's 5 p.m. already. It's common during the summer. If one counts the seconds and minutes, it appears that even a single hour would never end. But if one thinks of anything else, then the whole day flies by quickly. I decided to start packing. They could leave without me. I quickly took all my winter stuff and shoved it into a bag. I was almost about to jump onto the bed again, but then the door opened and Olga came in.
Oh, I see you're packed already. That's great, let's go.
I got up reluctantly, grabbed my simple luggage, and followed her. I really don't care what will happen next. I'd long suspected that nothing was up to me in this world, and recent events had reinforced my complete confidence in this. I might wake up tomorrow in the bus 410, or I might not wake up at all. And that's all, folks. It's all that simple. There's no point in staying here. There's nowhere to run. Basically, my only exit is to leave on the bus with everyone else. Go into the unknown. That's all I've been doing for the last week, stumbling along a narrow path in pitch black darkness, unsure of where is the beginning and where's the end. We were almost approaching the gates when I heard someone calling my name. Semyon! Semyon! Olga, excuse me, just wait a minute.
Okay, but make it fast or we'll leave without you.
I headed for the bushes from that voice came from. Semyon! Semyon! I waded through the thick greenery and came out onto the forest path. The voice seemed to be calling from nowhere. One moment it was heard behind a tree, now it seems to be behind my back. Probably it's one of those aliens from parallel worlds, but I suspect that I haven't met this exact one before.
We don't have much time.
I'm listening.
I know that you've already been contacted by him and him.
Yeah.
And I know that what they've told you. Don't ask me how.
Okay.
You must know one thing. The thing I know, there's more than a dozen of us here. In fact, more than 1,000. But a lot of people got out.
I've tried to digest what he said and phrase the right questions. Why are you here?
I stayed.
Why?
To help others find an exit.
Wow, how generous. And why should I trust you? You're the third one already. Well, in fact, I'm not even sure that you all aren't just my hallucination.
It's not about trust.
And what it is about?
It's about the right choice. Consider this camp to be a giant maze. You should take a few right turns to find an exit.
Okay, and how do I know which ones are right?
You will know. Come with me.
Where to?
To the second lap.
Hold on a sec. Pioneer just said my second lap will start tomorrow.
He lied.
The speaker raised his voice.
He's gone completely crazy. He's trying to destroy all the others.
So if I don't go with you and leave on the bus, then I'll be destroyed, right?
I don't know.
And why do you say so?
Nobody ever returned after a conversation with him.
Listen, why should I trust you? I was definitely on the edge. While that pioneer just mocked me and didn't seem to be real danger, this one clearly spoke about things worth being anxious about. I couldn't decide which one I should trust. This problem's like trying to get a blind man to say whether the light in this room is on or off. He can only guess, just like me.
Hurry up! Time is running out.
Hey, wait a sec.
Make a choice. Are you coming or not?
I follow the voice for the bad ending. Okay, let's go. Anyway, he sounded more credible than the crazy pioneer. Of course, this solution could be fatal, but the alternative isn't any better. I just took a shot in the dark. Okay, so where are we going?
We're already there.
My eyesight started to fade and I felt my consciousness leaving me. Epic fail. Semyon bad end. Oh. Oh, what's gonna happen? Ah, it looped. Ah, so that's the bad ending. So that voice is what... That's the voice that makes you loop. Ah. Well, that's interesting. Okay, well... Time for the good ending, I guess. Okay, so... The next one. The good ending. Now, the only difference between this and the bad ending is instead of following the voice, I don't follow the voice. So maybe I should have saved beforehand. But, oh well. So, without further ado, let's go forward. And I'll be back. Okay, here we are. Now we do not follow the voice. Here we go, boys and girls. No, you know what? I can't just believe you in only a couple of minutes. At least I've known that from the other guy for a little longer, and his argument seems to be more weighty. You'll be sorry. Those words sound like they were coming from another world. The voice seemed to disappear. Of course, I couldn't be sure whether my choice is right or wrong. It was a blind guess enforced by a time limit. Nevertheless, whether I'm right or wrong, we'll find out soon. In a couple of minutes, I was standing at the bus stop with all the other pioneers. Everybody here? Began Olga. You're leaving our camp today, and I'd like to tell you something in parting. She suddenly went British. She was visibly nervous and desperately lost for words. I hope that you'll remember the time you've spent here for a lifetime, and that you retain only pleasant memories about Savionok. I also hope that you became at least a little bit better, managed to learn something, and found new friends. Just come back next year. The camp leader looked away. It looks like she was trying to keep the tears inside. I didn't expect her to get so emotional, although her speech sounded like complete nonsense to me, as usual. The pioneers started to crowd into the bus, babbling cheerfully. I decided to hold on a little and say a proper goodbye to this camp. All of a sudden, I felt a deep urge to throw a coin. Of course, there's no fountain here, and honestly, I didn't feel like returning, but it's still just a superstition, and I don't want to believe in them. At least, I never believed in them before. Digging through my pockets, I found only a couple candy wrappers, a pencil, and a scrap of paper. I held them for a moment, then I squatted, put the paper on the ground, and scribbled a few words. You're here for a reason. Grinning at my stupidity, I threw the scrap under the wheel of the bus and got into the cabin. I found a place in the middle. The strangest thing was that everyone sat in pairs, and only I was alone. However, what's the difference now? I'll either disappear or we'll restart everything in a couple of hours. The bus was slowly moving towards the district center, occasionally bouncing over the bumps in the road. It was impossible to see anything beyond the old windows in this pitch-black dark of night. Anyway, I couldn't care less about the surrounding countryside. I just sat and waited for the inevitable. For the first time in a long while, my head was completely empty. The pioneers around me enjoyed the trip. Oyana and Alyssa were playing cards, Lena was reading a book, and Slavia was sleeping. Miku was trying in vain to start a conversation with Xenia, and Xenia was really trying hard not to start killing people. Electronic and Shurk were crafting something as usual. I was the only one completely ignored by everyone. It might be a slightly far-fetched perception. I got used to the role of being the center of the universe in the camp. I thought that everything revolved around me. Well, that might be up to a certain degree, but here and now, I'm only a foreign object, an out-of-the-place molecule in the harmonic pattern of a crystal grid. I'm not sure how long we spent on the road, but sleep had already started to overcome me. I was desperately fighting Morpheus, trying to stay awake as long as I could. After all, it's quite possible that today is the last day of my life, and probably it's reasonable to cling as hard as I could to see these few hours of meaningless, useless existence. I suddenly remembered that scrap of paper and the few words on it. Damn it, I've seen them before! How could I be so ignorant? Maybe all these pioneers, all this gobbledygook clouded my consciousness so much, my head was literally bursting with questions. However, physical fatigue and more importantly, emotional fatigue took its toll and I fell asleep. So I wonder where I wake up. Do I wake up back in the camp or do I wake up at my computer monitor? Sharp pain throbbed through my entire body. I felt it especially sharp in my temples. It feels like they're ready to shatter into 1,000 little pieces, giving the wind free access to my empty head. Probably, I would not have been able to stand even 5 minutes of such torture if I hadn't opened my eyes in time. I was somewhere. It was impossible to tell precisely where. My mind was clouded and mist, my thoughts were confused. That moment between the unconscious and conscious states, when you vividly remember your dreams. Who's that? That's a completely different girl! I was going somewhere by the bus and was about to doze off when suddenly a girl came up to me and began to speak quickly. I couldn't understand a word, but the girl looked very upset. I failed to understand what she needed from me. Time passed and she kept talking on and on. It was getting really annoying. I wanted to ask her to cut it out or at least calm down a bit, but I failed, either because I didn't manage to say anything, or because my words didn't reach her. I couldn't even see her face. I was simply listening and staring and listening. Perhaps it wasn't important for me then. Surely you would not try to remember what a mosquito disturbing your sleep looks like. Surely you wouldn't manage to recall the frequency of its flapping wings or the inclination of its proboscis after that. And this girl is just one in a million of voices that disturb you from concentrating, from thinking, from falling asleep. The louder her voice grew, the harder it got for me to catch her words. The bus cabin, the seats worn by time, the uneven floor, the rusty ceiling, the cracked glass of the windscreen. Everything was floating away, along with her. And then I felt a unique sense of relief. It doesn't matter how real the bus and the girl had been. It was nothing but a bug to me. And here I am, hanging in total emptiness and falling inside a dream. So who's that girl? Okay, I made it, but who's that girl? I want to know. Because that didn't look like any of the girls, like not even the cat girl. Oh, it might have been the cat girl. I'm not too sure. Well, dreams can really be something. Not quite a nightmare, yet definitely not something pleasant. I got up, rubbed my face to get back to reality, gave a loud yawn, and prepared to clean myself up. It was a really grey morning. Unable to find my hygiene kit on the nightstand, I concluded that I could manage without it. It was hard to get dressed, my hands were trembling like hell. I looked at my reflection in the mirror and checked out my 2-week stubble. Well, perhaps Olga is a razor. It was only when I went outside that I suddenly understood that I'm not in a pioneer camp. I'm back in my apartment, and I've just come out of my room and into a passageway, not out of the cabin. I was overwhelmed with surprise, with dismay, with fear, even with terror. But how? I sat down on the bed and buried my face in my hands, trying to remember the chain of yesterday's events. Yeah, the bus. The last day of the term. Yeah, I fell asleep, and woke up back home. Well, to some degree, it might even seem quite logical. It seemed that the initial astonishment has worn off during the first few seconds. After all, the fact that I came back like this after a week-long absence is no stranger than my sudden appearance at some pioneer camp of the 80s in the first place. The events of the last 2 days flashed before my eyes in an instant. The mysterious pioneer. His words. But how did I manage to get back to reality then? According to him, I was going to be stuck there forever, as there's no exit. On the other hand, I wasn't alone. That pioneer at the bus stop and the mystery voice emphasized the contrary, that the exit exists. Does that mean I found it? I managed to get out of the endless loop? But how? Nevertheless, I wasn't sure whether I should rejoice or grieve. Over the last week, I'd kind of gotten used to the everlasting inner monologue, the search for answers and the in-depth analysis of everything. so I simply couldn't accept this fact as it was, without figuring out what exactly happened to me. I think he got out because he left the clue for the next Semyon. I think that's the reason why he got out. And because that's the reason why he actually got out, because he left the clue for the next Semyon. I feel like that was it. Well, sure, he told me that I'm the only one who has observed the existence of the other guys like me during their very first loop, but does that mean anything? Anyway, all his theories and ideas instantly collapsed like a house of cards. Now I had to decide how I should react. Of course, I should rejoice. After all, I'm back to the real world. Maybe the last 7 days were just a dream? Indeed, there's absolutely no evidence that I was really there. I don't see my pioneer uniform anywhere. I look my age, just like I did before. My phone is on the table, fully charged. But one can't deceive one's own memory. One can't live through such terrifically real experiences in a dream. I still remember the events of the whole week in great detail. Perhaps I was in a coma all this time? An ironic laugh escapes my lips. Nah, that's not an option either. Then, all's well that ends well? The last few hours in the camp flashed through my mind. Indeed, I wasn't hoping to get out. Either from that camp or from that reality. And I was pretty much ready to do another week. And another, and another. I'd accepted my role, I'd reconciled with my destiny. And what was I supposed to do after all the stuff that happened? I heaved a doom sigh, got up from the bed and with considerable effort and went to the computer. That's weird, but according to it, only 14 hours have passed since my disappearance from this world, not a whole week. A new message in the instant messenger. Hi, Semyon! Yesterday, it was legendary. See you later. My college friend, it was him who invited me to that party with the rest of his college friends that I was going to attend. Suddenly, all my senses came back to me. The headache, the dizziness, all the symptoms of a hangover. Looks like I indeed attended that party yesterday. And I was partying hard, so there was no pioneer camp? But then, where did all these memories, emotions, and feelings come from? All of this was so incomprehensible that I became enraged. I began cursing foully, trying to tear my hair out and hammering on the keyboard with my fists. I didn't return to a normal state until there were no keys left on it. Why should I care so much? Nobody worries when a dream or a hallucination ends. Moreover, people are usually glad that it happens. Was I really that prepared to stay there that my return to reality became so undesirable for me? And then a simple and obvious thought crossed my mind. Perhaps I'm just going insane. Indeed, madmen frequently have visions which they perceive as reality. Besides, I had all the symptoms of insanity. I never leave the four walls of my prison. I never socialize. I have lots of psychological problems. Well, that explains a lot. My dark, nervous laughter echoed in the room. Guess it's the right time for me to visit a therapist, or rather a psychiatrist. Or should I just surrender myself to the asylum? Semyon. A horse! A horse! Half my kingdom for a horse! I cried at the top of my lungs. Bouts of maniac laughter. Dispute not with her, she's a lunatic. The racket my neighbors made on the other wall calmed me down somehow. If I'm tripping that bad, it looks like only a lobotomy could help me. I just sat completely freaked out for several hours, doing nothing, thinking nothing, just staring at the monitor. Long since gone to sleep. In sleep mode. Finally, I moved the mouse and opened a few tabs in the browser. So what's new? F5! F5! As if the events of the past week had never happened. Come on. Do you have to grieve for hallucination? Was it real? Sure, lots of memories. Sure, looks true enough. By all means, yes. Any proof? No. Verdict is clear. As is my future course. I've been long suspected that my current lifestyle wasn't doing me any good. I wasn't ready for such an unusual event, but so what? I'll have to be more prepared for my next trip. Night, an endless stream of threads and images took my mind off lamentations and considerations. An instant message window popped up most unexpectedly. Hi, how are you doing? Sure, quite an original way to start a conversation. Doing fine. The contact's profile was completely empty, not even a nickname, just a 9-digit number. You can't guess what kind of person is on the other end just by looking at a number, can you? Sure, someday it will be all different. unified digital identifiers instead of names, a couple of symbols for a biography, several bytes of personality, and 3.5 bits of feelings. Get home safely? Probably someone from yesterday's party. Seems like it. You do remember everything I told you yesterday, right? Well, I guess not. There was yet another message after a long pause. I see. Honestly, I don't give a damn who this is and why he's messaging me until this unidentified individual starts harassing me. I could easily tolerate his presence in my contacts list. Well, that's okay. We'll meet again. We surely will. Looking forward to it, yeah? Alright. Bye! I didn't reply. This odd, screwed up day at last was slowly coming to an end. Going to bed, I yet again recalled in my head all the events that seemed so real for me. Where am I going to wake up tomorrow? Would these hallucinations return? Nah. I'll probably just forget everything. Strange, but now I'm really feeling that everything happening now is real. It was just a fiction, a game of deformed imagination, or really something fantastical, and here is reality. Sometimes inconvenient, sometimes it unfolds differently from how you'd wish. Surprises you like this, but still reality. I fell asleep with these thoughts. So is that it? Bit by bit, my life resumed its normal course, and I started to forget the events of that week. After all, nothing bad happened. Even if it was indeed real, who cares? That we're only 7 days in a pioneer camp. I wasn't killed. Nobody kidnapped me to conduct experiments. I wasn't brainwashed. So why do I care now about the reason? If it indeed was a hallucination, I could only hope that it won't repeat itself. I was still a shut-in. My computer and the internet were my only friends. And the keyboard was the only communication channel connecting me to the outside world. The F5 key became the main thing in my life again. Come to think of it, it really wasn't all that bad. Yet another day, a familiar combination of digits popped up on the screen. That strange contact of mine had come online once again. Hey! Hey! How are you doing? Doing fine. Probably I knew him from somewhere, but who cares anyway? Any news? Not really. Stability is a sign of true class. One might say so. Oh, I see. This conversation was over for me, but he didn't seem to feel like that. So, nothing has changed? Nope. Should it have? Well, it's not like you experience stuff like that on a day-to-day basis. Not everybody gets to experience it either. What are you talking about? Don't you get it? I was starting to. I prefer you explain. Don't you remember the camp? Oh, shit! Okay, well, It felt like an electric shock. All the events of that week immediately sprang up in my mind. My hands started to tremble. A cold sweat burst from my forehead. I turned around in horror, already imagining that I'd see aliens, ghosts, or the Grim Reaper, but there was nobody in my room except me, as always. I ran to the corridor, checked in the kitchen and the bathroom. Still nobody. At last, I returned to the computer. The same message window was flashing steadily, as if it was a perfectly ordinary message. Who are you? My hands were trembling so much I could hardly hit the right keys. Oh, so you do remember it. My hallucinations seem to be continuing, or did I ever leave the camp in the first place? Or it's just a dream after all, or I don't know what to say. I admitted sincerely. Anyhow, I felt this entity, that's the only definition that I could think of, doesn't need any kind of internet to communicate with me. Well, you can just keep silent. Everything's perfectly clear. That smiley at the end of the line looks like the devil himself stretching his deformed jaws open to devour me. What is happening to me? Finally made up my mind to ask that question. Nothing at all. You're just living your regular life. But the camp, was it real? And what do you think? I'm not sure. If it seemed real to you, then yes, it was real. If not, then it wasn't. It's just that simple. That's not simple at all. What will happen to me next? I whispered. Nothing to worry about. Seems that it really hurt me without the use of the internet. Terror chained my whole body. I closed my eyes and curled myself into a ball. Why are you doing this to me? I started to lose it. Words were coming out of my mouth by themselves, illogically, meaningless sets of words. Why? Why me? What for? What for? Leave me alone. I haven't done anything bad. Several minutes after, I found the courage to open my eyes and take one look at the monitor. You are the reason for everything. This message window was flickering coldly. And what's next? Oh, you'll see that soon enough. Everything started fading to black in my eyes. Noise filled my ears and I started to feel dizzy. I felt that my very soul was escaping its physical shell. The events of the last few days became hazy, as if they'd all happened to someone other than me. Then the memories of the camp started to vanish, as if somebody was using an eraser to thoroughly rub out the words written with a pencil. A moment later, I felt and sensed nothing, as though I was plunged into a state of cosmic bliss. If anyone saw me at the moment, they would notice that I was smiling. So, did he just forget? I'm kinda stuck here. I hit the report spam button, closed the window, switched to the browser, and glanced at the clock. Time to get going, or I'm gonna be late. So... I'm so confused! Every story has its beginning and end. Huh. Okay, so we know it was something supernatural. Oh, there's Slavia! And Lena. So they're all gonna show up. Okay, so... Oh my god, so much going on in my head, man! Okay, well, that's not the last episode, but, I mean... Okay, so... He did get transported. Within that 14-hour gap. Something fucked up happened. But... Okay, so something fucked up happened to him. And he got transported back for something. And there's the cat girl. The cat girl is, I think she's like some sort of a secret ending. Well, kind of, I think. Yeah, because you had to get all the other endings before you got her ending. So... Damn. I'm just so... I'm just so confused. This game is fucking with my head, man. I'm just so fucking confused with it. Alright, well, I guess next is the, Catgirl ending, I guess. Or unless, F-22 Raptor has something different to say. I don't know if he's gonna tell me that I need to do the, this one, the One Pioneer Story, or if I do the Catgirl ending, because I don't know about the One Pioneer Story. So, there are the achievements. Yeah, so there's 2 more. So is the Catgirl good and the Catgirl bad? Or is there that Olyana alternate one, which is from the One Pioneer? I don't know. So, I guess remember to like, subscribe, comment, click on that notification button. I'll see all of you beautiful people in the next video. Bye bye.